This morning I talked to Jason Chaffetz, who will be asking some of the questions at that hearing. Jason Chaffetz, good morning. Welcome back here to America's Newsroom.
Good morning, Bill.
Well, you think about the spending in government culture. I mean, what this shows you is that if they have the money, they will spend the money.
Yeah, I mean, it's just out of control. It's just this pervasive culture with total disregard for it's the people's money. Whenever there's a decision to spend money, you're taking money out of somebody's wallet and giving it to somebody else.
But
and
they
in this
don't think that way. Look at this.
Don't.
The IRS could have negotiated cheaper rooms and chose not to. Which company runs itself that way? The report says 2,600 managers flown to Anaheim, California. I mean, what a great gig that must be. $6,400 in gifts to its employees. How do you explain this stuff away?
They spent $50,000 in these silly videos. They spent $3.7 million in flights and hotels. You telling me you couldn't do a teleconference or a conference call or produce a little video that somebody had to watch at their desk? I mean, there's total disregard and disrespect for the people's money. It's a pervasive attitude, and it has to stop. It's just so out of
You know
control.
why it's more insidious? Because this was 2010, 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
I mean, this is when the critical lens of government spending was, I mean, every day in every newspaper, every website across America was focused on government spending. Anaheim, $4 million. Philadelphia, $3 million for a convention there. San Diego and Atlanta, $1.2 million each. I mean, this comes from an administration in 2012 that said no government agency can spend more than $500,000 on any singular conference. I mean, they went well above that in all these cases. Now, you get a chance today to talk to Ferris Fink. Ferris Fink played Spock in the Star Trek parody. What are you going to ask Ferris Fink?
You know, it'd be interesting to see if he comes in uniform. It's not every day you got to interview Spock, but, you know, you kind of smile and get this snarky little thing, and then you look at it and say, what in the world were you doing? Right now, so far, the IRS, in holding people accountable, has only put 2 people on administrative leave for getting free food. The total disregard for the people's money, the outrageous spending going outside the parameters and the scope of what they're allowed to do by their own internal rules doesn't seem to be paramount because nobody's been fired at this point. They're only put on administrative leave because they got free food. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And
so I want to drill down on.
It was $1,000 or $1,100 too. I mean, which is absolute pennies when you're talking about this. Now, I want to ask you about this Wall Street Journal report because the folks in Cincinnati are saying we did nothing unless the attorneys for the IRS in Washington, D.C., and I have a name for you too, Carter Hall, unless they approved and oversaw everything. Now, what do you know about that?
Well, clearly this is continuing to blossom. I don't think anybody at first blush believed that it was just 2 rogue agents in some office in Cincinnati that came up with this scheme here. The system is designed so that 2 rogue people can't just go off and do this. And the oversight and government reform, we're going to continue to dive into this. It's blossoming into a lot more, and clearly it looks to us at this point that there are people here in Washington, D.C. that were intimately involved in this, and we're going to get to the bottom of that.
There's a critical question, too. Who ordered the targeting? Who ordered it?
Who ordered it, and then who got the information? Was there information leaked? Was there information shared with other people? How long has this been going on? How many different groups have been going on? This should continue to be outraged on both sides of the aisle, but I got to tell you, this is one of the biggest abuses of power in the public trust that we've ever seen.
But remember, Lois Lerner, Steve Miller, I mean, they have both said publicly that the people in Cincinnati are to blame. And now that story is starting to shift. Now, how is this hearing going to advance it, do you think?
Well, hopefully when we talk to Mr. Werfel, who's new into this position, but also speaking with the Inspector General. There are a lot of other documents. We've had people on the ground for our committee going into Ohio. This is going to take some time to unweave this whole mess, but we will get there, Bill.
All right,
we'll get there.
We'll see in about 15 minutes. The hearing begins there on Capitol Hill. Jason Chaffetz, Republican from Utah, thank you.
We're going to get to that live.